got ourselves one missing for team 2, but we got ourselves last Voker first up versus I'm Atomic the Fury Warrior. Did Vokers get a buff recently or anything? Not in a while, have they? So Lads are just going in raw versus Atomic, who's just going off of the recent Executor Rampage boss. Last Walker does get to back up out of there for a little bit, using that wall as well as the Renew and Blaze in order to give himself a little bit more survivability. Atomic is just kind of waiting out. He did pop a lot of cooldowns. Big damage for the dragon, but he does get it with the Fear Wall in midair, just kind of floating. Has himself a lot of mastery. Wants to go for big damage. Massive blast on Atomic. Atomic does go in for a bit of a storm build. Wants to make sure he can interrupt Lathbroker if he can. Wall to follow for Lathbroker. I think actually uninterruptible. So right now he's just going in for big living flames. If he can get himself a better angle versus Atomic, he'll be in a fantastic spot. Just try to see if he can blast him out. Does he have mastery? Not anymore. Got himself a little bit of the mobility while casting. Atomic, I think, may have him here, trying to go for big damage. Big firebreath to follow. Does he have anything? It's gonna go for Warlock Hellstone just to make sure he's actually safe as Lathbroker back it up out of there. Leap into a charge. Lathbroker may be in a bit of trouble. Execute could be the end of you. As Atomic does go for yet another charge storm bolt. Not much you can really do in that situation. Flavor of the month. Try to see if you can blast out Atomic. Not playing the spear build by the looks of it. Just blasting him out without the spear. Big parry to follow. Atomic may be in trouble. I think it's just from one or into the next, unless some Atomic can somehow live this. Just start to follow. Try to see if he can walk away from Flavor. Does he get any healing whatsoever? He's just so close to dead. Oh, try to see if he can go for a heal, but a last second Flavor of the month just got him with Haster. Try to see if he can blast out Flavor. Not let him go anywhere. Flavor immediately leaping away. Defensive stance. Try to see if he can hide in the corner. Try to see if he can hide the... Where are you hiding? Where's my camera? I can see your legs. What is that cubby? What is that new spot? Are you actually like hidden? Is that like line of sight too? That was weird. Gonna be Haster trying to go for a bit of a shadow crash onto Flavor, but the Arms Warrior just got himself lots of damage ramped up. Root for a second, can't break out of it. Looks like Haster actually uses that root fairly well. Just root the guy, just blast him out for freebie damage. It's gonna be Reflect out for Flavor of the month. It's going to give him Reflect one ability to Haster, but also reduce that magic damage by a little bit. Does have himself Mind Games. Does not want to heal without Mind Games. Maybe kind of limited on what he can really do. Try to see if he can walk away from the guy. Can he survive whatsoever? I think Jesus still has line inside of you. He just popped into DPO and there's nothing he can do. As a Void Eruption just pops off from the Warrior. It's going to be a bit of a rematch between the two as Haster goes in for Fear in Chicago. Mindful Insanity. Chicago got himself a little bit of a cooldown reduction. Silence onto the Shaman, however, as it goes straight up Super Saiyan. Just kind of blinking all over the place. Big Ascendance. Actual on-use proc from Chicago. Blasting out Haster. Maybe a disperse right here. Haster, if you get a shot on Shadow, he could be in a bad spot. Does go for any kind of holy heal he can just to survive it. Has himself desperate in case he needs to. May need to use something. There's going to be a disperse off of the lasso. Big Void Eruptions as the silence comes out on the Shaman. Does have a pretty wall for this one. Does avoid every single one of the Void Eruptions though by the looks of it. Haster could be in a bit of trouble. Does have himself PI and a bit of Void Balls that he can use. Maybe stun Chicago with a pet as well. He's trying to see if he can blast him out if he can. Got himself a little bit of range. But in terms of survivability, he's very limited on what he can do. Stun around the corner onto Haster. Maybe he can go for Power Word Life here very, very soon. Definitely needs to go for some heals if he can get any. Desperate Prayer came back at the last second, but he just couldn't quite use it fast enough. Gonna be last up, but Chicago immediate chicken for Shadow and trying to see if he can ramp up some damage as well. Got him some big kill shots with the aim shot. Chicago knows that damage from Marksman, while they got True Shot, it is actually quite deadly. Back-to-back aim shots like that with rapid fires is gonna do a lot of damage, especially as he got himself rampant crit damage as well. But Shannon, I think his cooldown gone. Not gonna have the maximum value for it anymore. Still could probably make some kind of play with Chicago, especially if he got himself that explosive shot, which is gonna pop in Chicago. Chicago has fire on him. I thought that was literally explosive shot, but maybe that's not it. The shot on trying to see if he can get himself the damage worse. Chicago rapid fire on the corner, but looks like the Shaman has been able to recuperate plenty. Aim shot to follow, doing quite a bit, but the alien blasts are able to overpower the wall quite easily. Beast of Locks is going to be up next, only 5 minutes into the duel. Not super high dampening. And this could be the opportunity to potentially have a proper rematch with Chicago after that last Dalaran Sewers, where Chicago just was able to overpower him with Ascendance alone. Ascendance back for Chicago. Actually, it's every cooldown. They're even going for Thunderstorm, but honestly, needs to start using cooldowns immediately. Axos by the Manpad. Trick gets out of it. Try to see if he can go for an interrupt on the beast and not let him use defenses. He's just going to go for full Ascendance. Just absolute huge mode. Just ascended into an elemental god. Blasted those defenses. Beastly chomping down on a Warlock Hellstone. Trying to go for a bit of fear on Chicago. Controlling their damage as best as possible. Keeping them in a bonds of but looks like they do end up walking out of it. Pets are still surrounding Chicago. Definitely definitely needs a bit more Maelstrom generation. Leaping in towards BC as they do go for a wall, as the Capacitor Totem is going to stun him as well as the pets, not letting him play the game. Ghost Rose coming back in. Chicago backing up for a moment, looking for a bit of healing. Lasso right after. It is super DR though from those Capacitor Totems. Axos by the pets, knocking them all over the place. Just try to see if they can close the gap with BC somehow. It looks like may have to back up out of there. Maybe even poke around the corner and just go for a couple of zaps, couple of Ellie Blasts around the corner, generating the Maelstrom off of the main pet potentially. Beastly getting blasted out by Ellie Blast. Another Capacitor as it got a tired up and running. Trying to see if he can maybe survive Chicago. Does that Mortal Coil? I think Chicago may just have him and does end up overpowering him with Lanthenia. Gonna be up next. Lanthenia taking a bit of damage in the opener, trying to go for double ambushes. Blade Rush to follow, reconnecting with Chicago. Do they have enough damage to light the lasso? Do the trinket. Chicago, you're just gonna wait until maybe get himself a bit more proxy. He's gonna go for Thunder on Lanthenia, double Capacitor Totem, trying to see if he can avoid the second Capacitor. Disarm on Chicago, has himself a little bit of Maelstrom, but definitely needs a little bit more survivability. Trying to see if he can maybe activate Guardian Spirits, big Ascendance, mad damage. Lanthenia may just go down. That is Cloak of Shadows to help him against magic damage, but the physical they can't really prevent it. Cloak going on for too long. Big Alabaster follow. Does he have a Flame Shock? I think maybe there is a Flame Shock, but he does go in for a proper Vanish. And maybe Cloak of Shadows giving him an opportunity to go for proper go. Chicago needs some kind of healing right now. They definitely need healing immediately if they can do it. Lanthenia no hope whatsoever. Actually just playing super defensively. Chicago catching up on food. Lanthenia trying to see if he can prevent it. But gets roots out in the open, is going to be able to blast out Chicago, has a little bit of extra range. Chicago got himself cooldown reduction, stun onto Lanthenia, trinkets out of immediately. It's going to be Chicago trying to give himself a bit of healing and 54% dampening, knocking Lanthenia out, but the Raptors are not going to let the rogue catch a proper reset. That is a lot of Maelstrom built up. One Ellie Blast could just end you right now. Does Chicago have that Ellie Blast that they need? Gouge to follow? Do they have that setup? Do they have the prep work? Just needs one big go. Do they have it? Flame Shock? No Maelstrom though. Oh my god, the rogue needs something. Anything right now. Get a shot to fall into Chicago. Do they have enough damage? Just playing still super defensive, grappling out. Does Chicago end the duel right then and there? Sap? Oh my god, Lanthenia. So the rogue looks like maybe bringing it back. Maybe the rogue can bring it back here. Unless Chicago just goes in to finish him off. Then it's going to be a slow totem around the corner. Doesn't quite get the rogue in combat, but it is going to slow his approach. Lasso by Chicago. Is that over? Thunder? Hellstone? Gouge? Lanthenia is still alive? Could go for advantage to give himself a bit of a heal. May want to just go for advantage. This is Raptor Sonya. Honestly? Blade Flurry? Ellie Blast? Did he just go for advantage? Oh my god. I was thinking maybe we just vanish it. Maybe the cooldown on vanish was a little bit off. But it's Chicago with 1v4 boys. Absolutely unstoppable with a big Ascendance build. And honestly, not even playing the proc Ascendance, just playing proper Ascendance. Just to have a guaranteed burst combo.